चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So thank you everybody for joining today. I have been personally leading this section from Srimad Bhagavatam and also discussing in our Japa group on Skype. So I was thinking I will hear some lectures from other devotees and get some analysis from this section, what I can learn and some lessons I can learn and implement in my life. So I would like to share with you what I heard. So briefly going through this pastime from Bhagavatam, some of you might not have heard it before, but for many it might be a repetition. So please bear with me. So Bharat Maharaj was the son of Lord Rishabdev. Lord Rishabdev is incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and Rishabdev he had total 100 sons. out of which the eldest son and the best was Bharat Maharaj. So when Rishabh Dev he retired and went to the forest, he made Bharat Maharaj as the king of whole of Bharatvarsh, and that's how the name Bharat is coming. It's derived from the Bharat Maharaj. So Bharat Maharaj he ruled Bharatvarsh for about 10 million years, and after that he gave up his beautiful wife, his sons, his kingdom, all of it. Bhagavatam says, as a person who passes stool, he gives up stool. Right? So in that way, he was so much detached that he gave up all his family members, his kingdom, and he went to the forest. He went to a place called Pulaha Ashram. And there he was worshipping his Lord Vishnu with whatever was available to him. So this Pulaha Ashram...
Are you trying to share something on this TV?
Sorry. Yes. So this Pulaha Ashram was at the banks of Gandaki river. That's where Shaligram Shila found. So he was worshipping Lord Vishnu there with whatever was available, leaves, twigs, fruits, flowers, tulsi, like that. And he became so much absorbed in his sadhana that he started experiencing Ashta Sattvika Vikar. He had transcendental, crying in ecstasy, bodily hair standing on end, trembling, choking of voice. All these symptoms were visible in him, because he attained the stage of bhava in bhakti. In bhakti, there are 9 total stages. Starts from Shraddha, little faith, and that brings you to Sadhu Sangha. And in Sadhu Sangha, you start doing Bhajan Kriya. So Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha, Nivriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, and then final stage is Prem. So this Bhav stage is one stage before attaining Shuddha, Prem. Pure love for Krishna, that is the goal of bhakti. So he was very close to getting prema. He was at the bhav stage. So one time this Bharat Maharaj, he was doing his meditation on the banks of the river, and suddenly a deer comes along, and this is a female deer, and this deer is drinking water from the river, and this deer is pregnant. Okay, and then there is a sudden roar of a lion, and this deer becomes very afraid, and in being afraid, it tries to cross over the river, and in midst of this it experiences a miscarriage, and so the baby deer falls down into the river and starts flowing down the river, and this mother deer crosses the river and goes into a cave, and it gives up her life because of the shock due to the miscarriage that it experienced. So all of this was happening in front of Bharat Maharaj, and Bharat Maharaj, looking at the baby deer, he felt very compassionate, and he picked up that baby deer and he brought him to his ashram. And he started taking care of him. And Bharat Maharaj became so much engrossed in taking care of the deer that he started to neglect his spiritual practices. So Bharat Maharaj, he started thinking that, I am the only shelter for this deer. I am the father and mother of this deer. So this deer has no one else. So I will take care of the deer even at the cost of compromising my own sadhana. That's what Bharat Maharaj was thinking. So while he was worshipping Lord Vishnu, at intervals he would get up and he would check where the deer is, whether the deer is safe or not. And looking at the deer, that the deer was safe, he feels satisfied, and he would bless the deer like that. So taking care of the deer, he completely left his own sadhana. And one time now the deer went somewhere in the forest, and Bharat Maharaj felt so much anxiety and was feeling separation from the deer. He was running after in the forest, and the time came for him to pass away, to leave his body, and at that time he was thinking about the deer. And so Krishna immediately applied Bhagavad Gita 8.6 formula. So does anybody know what is Bhagavad Gita 8.6 formula say?
Yam yam vapi smaran.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajante ante kalevaram tam tam evati kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Because Bharat Maharaj was remembering the deer at the time of death, the next body that he got was that of a deer. So this deer Bharat, in the Bharat Maharaj, in the deer body, was more spiritually advanced than King Bharat. And Krishna is very merciful. In the deer body, he gave him human consciousness. Because Bharat Maharaj had done bhakti, he was having a human consciousness even in the deer body. So he remembered his past life and the mistake that he did, that he became attached to this insignificant deer. So this dear Bharat was very much repenting the mistake that he had done. And he left his mother dear and he went again to Pulha ashram, and he was staying around those sages doing tapasya, and he would hear Hari Katha from them, and he would just eat dry leaves, and all the time he was remembering Krishna. And then he gave up his dear body, and the next body that he got was that of a Brahmana in a Brahman family, and he became Jad Bharat. So this Jad Bharat was more spiritually advanced than this dear Bharat. And this Jada Bharat was purposefully acting like a very dull-headed person, a deaf and dumb person, that he would not understand anything. His father used to teach him Brahmanical principles, but he would pretend he's a fool, he doesn't get anything. His father used to tell him that you should wash your hands after going to the bathroom, and he would wash his hands before going to the bathroom. So like he pretended himself like a fool, because now in this Jada Bharat life, he did not want himself to be entangled to any relationship. He didn't want to develop any sort of attachments. He was very careful. One time, Jada Bharat was captured by some dacoits, and they wanted to give his as a human sacrifice to Kali. And Jada Bharat didn't protest because he was not in bodily consciousness. He was like, okay, if Krishna wants to kill me, he can kill me. But Kali became very angry because Jad Bharat was a devotee. So she came out of the deity, and with a chopper she killed all the dacoits. And then we see that Jad Bharat moves on, and he comes across King Rahugana. And we see that Jad Bharat would preach to King Rahugana. Jad Bharat didn't open his mouth in front of his family members or in front of the dacoits, because they were in low consciousness. They wouldn't understand any spiritual matters. But he found that King Rahugana was in mode of goodness, that he will understand spiritual things. So he preached to King Rahugana. So as the story continues, Jad Bharat finally he would give up his body, and he will go back home, back to Godhead. So this is a whole pastime in short summary. But there are so many lessons that we can learn from this pastime that we can apply in our spiritual life. So the first lesson I'm writing here is that we need to understand what is real compassion. Bharat Maharaj, he was very compassionate to the deer, but that compassion caused his fall down, right? And even we see that Arjuna is compassionate in the beginning of the war of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna is very compassionate to his family members. He doesn't want to kill his guru, his grandfather, and his brothers like that. But Krishna does not approve of this compassion, right? So we cannot exhibit compassion blindly. Now Prabhupada writes in this purport here, somebody can read this purport, Bhagavad Gita chapter 1.
Material compassion, lamentation and tears are all signs of ignorance of the soul. Compassion for the soul is self-realization. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. A man fallen in the ocean of ashes cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress that glows with his.
Thank you. So if somebody is drowning, and if I save their coat and pant, but the person drowns, is this something good that I have done? No. So just taking care of the material bodily needs of a person and neglecting his spiritual needs is not the correct form of compassion. Ultimately, we need to elevate somebody to spiritual consciousness, connect them to Krishna, make them chant Hare Krishna. Then that would be real help that I am doing for that person. Because everybody in this material world is suffering because of their karma. They are in that particular condition, material condition is because of their karma. And I cannot change anybody's karma. Maybe we can give them a little food or some money, but that will not change their material condition, which is because of their own karma. But Krishna can change their karma. So as they start chanting Hare Krishna and they get connected to Krishna, then their karma can change. So real compassion means elevating people to spiritual consciousness. So for Bharat Maharaj, being kind to the deer was not wrong on his part, but neglecting his own spiritual practices for taking care of the deer was the mistake that he did. And Bharat Maharaj should have understood that actually I cannot raise this deer, which is but an animal, to spiritual consciousness. So I can maybe chant Hare Krishna and give him Krishna Prasad and then leave him with other deers, and he'll be taken care of. So like that he should have thought. Another point that I want to make is that in order to save others who are drowning, we need to know swimming. right? So like they say that in the airplane, you put your oxygen mask first before helping others. So we have to be very serious and pakka in our sadhana before trying to help others who are drowning, otherwise we will also drown with them. Okay, so this was my first lesson. Once I go through all the lessons, I mean, you can also join, say your realizations and if any other points you would like to add. But I'll go through all the lessons that I have first. So the second lesson I have is that spiritual life is like a razor's edge. So in Katha Upanishad, there is one verse, Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varanya Bodhita Churasya Dharya Nishita Duratya Durgam Pathastat Kavayo Vaditi. It's on the screen. So this verse says that please wake up and understand the boon that you have now gotten in this human form of life. The path of self-realization is very difficult. It is sharp like a razor's edge. That is the opinion of learned transcendental scholars. So if you are using a razor and you are not attentive, what will happen? There will be a cut, right? There will be blood. Or you can say if you are driving on the road and you are not attentive while driving, there can be a big accident, right? So we say casual means casuality. If you are casual in your devotional life, little lapse on your part, little inattention can totally change the direction of your life. So like that's what happened with Bharat Maharaj. He was very close to going back home, back to Godhead. He was at the Bhav platform, but attachment to an insignificant deer totally changed the direction of his life, right? So I was hearing Mahatma Das Prabhu this weekend. He was giving a humility workshop, and he was saying that you can envision that you are in an airport and you are wanting to board the Vaikuntha Airlines, going back home, back to God, right? And then in the airport you have to pass through security scanners. There is a humility scanner that you're passing through, and it starts to beep, 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 beep. Sorry, you have some security personnel come in and say you cannot enter here because we have detected some pride in your heart, right? So that was a humility scanner. Same way, for all the anarthas, lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy, we have to pass through the scanners. Otherwise, we will not be allowed entry into the spiritual world. Little pride in our heart that I am better than this devotee, or little offense that we do, fault finding that we do, criticism, or becoming angry at some person for some insignificant. If we have that little attachment, like Prabhupada says, if you are attached to even one laddu, you have to come back to the material. Little attachment, little desires will prevent us from boarding the Vaikuntha Airlines. So many lifetimes, so many reasons have been there that we have been stopped from going to the spiritual world. We cannot force our entry into the spiritual world. The doors have to be opened from the other side, right? We cannot force ourselves. Krishna knows every single detail what is going on in our hearts. So if we have to make amends, if we understand, if we become conscious of our anarthas and what we are doing wrong, we should make amends right now, right? Otherwise we will again lose the opportunity. So as we were discussing this verse, Katha Upanishad, it's saying that understand the boon that you have gotten in the form of this human form of life after going through so many species, 8.4 million different species. Finally we have this human form of life, which is very rare, it is very valuable, but at the same time it's very short, it's very temporary. Nardehamadyam sulubham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam mayanukule nanavasvidiratam puman bhavam dhimnatareksa atmaha. Bhagavatam says that this human body that we have gotten is a very well constructed boat, and the captain of the boat is the spiritual master, and there are favorable winds that are moving this boat across the ocean, which are the words of Krishna, the scriptures that we have been given. But somebody who does not utilize this opportunity of this human body to cross the ocean of nations is committing atmaha, is committing suicide. But so we have gotten this human body which is rare, but what is more rare than getting a human body? Does anybody know what is more rare than getting a human body? Association of devotees. Durlabho manusho deho dehinam shanam bhangura tatrapi durlabham mane vaikuntha priya darshanam. To get a human body is rare, but more rare than getting a human body is getting the association of devotees. So I want to congratulate all of you here that you are rarest of the rare. That we have gotten the best.
There is one more beyond that. Association devotees, but still can be
More rare
static,
than
more rare than this opportunity to serve.
opportunity to serve.
Rare, rarer, and rarest.
Yes, correct. So we have opportunity to serve also. So we have gotten the best, highest thing that we have gotten. What can be better than this? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us a very simple process: chanting, dancing, and feasting. It's very joyful. We can dance our way back home, back to Godhead. We are in the golden period of Kali Yuga, right? We are very close to going back home, back to Godhead. But now, if we become distracted or we make mistakes, then what does a devotee say? Aho dukkham maha dukkham dukkhaduttaram yataha kachartam vismritam ratna hare nameva kevalam. So this verse says that, oh, what a sorrow, what a great sorrow, more miserable than any other misery. Considering it to be a mere piece of glass, people have forgotten this greatest jewel. The holy name of Sri Hari alone is everything. So holy name is the greatest jewel that Krishna has given us. But if we have a very precious jewel and if we don't safeguard it, right? Like our Bhakti Lata Beej, our Bhakti Beej, the seed that we have gotten, if we don't safeguard it with, let's say, the mad elephant offense, which is committing Vaishnava Prag, or saving it from the weeds of anarthas, then we will lose it. So we have to very much safeguard it, the greatest jewel that we have gotten. So they say that one who gets the opportunity to perform Krishna consciousness is very fortunate. One who does not get that opportunity, because there are many people who do not come across the correct path of Krishna consciousness, they are unfortunate. But those who come across Krishna consciousness, but they don't become serious and accept this process seriously, or they squander this opportunity, they are most unfortunate. So every day we should realize that I have gotten this fortunate situation. How can I best use this opportunity, right? So even while engaged in devotional service, we have to be very attentive. So there are so many examples in scriptures where some devotees, they were performing devotional service and they got distracted because of inattention, distraction. Of course, Bharat Maharaj is one example. Can anybody think of some other examples in Shastra where some devotee, they got Ajamil was in the forest, he was collecting flowers for his deities. At that time, he came across that scene of Shudra and Shudrani. They were embracing each other, and just, from looking at that scene, contemplating on that scene, he got distracted. And he went to marry the prostitute and further became very sinful. Okay, what else? Vishwamitra Muni was doing meditation and he got distracted by Menaka. Yeah, sent by Indra. What else? Anybody else? Shauvari Muni, he committed an offense towards Garuda, and because of which he developed material desires in his heart. He was meditating underwater. He was very much renounced. He was meditating underwater so that he doesn't become distracted by anything in this material world. But he saw some fishes mating underwater, and looking at the fishes mating, he developed that desire, I want to marry. And he came out of the water and he married 50 daughters of King Bharat. Okay, I have one more example. In our scriptures, we have Kal Krishna Das. Kal Krishna Das was accompanying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in South India Yatra. He was his personal servant. And he knew that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a supreme lord. And he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embrace Vasudev leper. And at the same time, his leprosy went away. He got a golden complexion body. So he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing that, and also converting so many Mayavadis into devotees, like that. So he knew Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a supreme lord, but he got attracted by some woman, tribal women, Bhattahari tribes, and he developed some desires to be with them. So one morning he was supposed to do morning duties for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he ran away to be with the tribal people. So for that, Prabhupada writes in the purport here, in this purport, commentary.
Maya is so strong that unless one is determined not to fall victim, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot give protection. Even though a person may associate with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he can be allured by Maya and leave the Lord's company due to his slight independence. Chaitanya Charitamrita 17:14.
Yeah, so Maya is so strong that even though you are with the Supreme Lord, you can still become distracted. So the root cause of all fall down is inattention, inattentive chanting, inattentive devotional practice, inattentive in dealing with other Vaishnavas committing offenses. So that's why they say you should first be conscious, then you can be Krishna conscious. Understand what you're doing, where is your mind right now, what are you thinking, and then you can be Krishna conscious. Okay, so then we'll move on to the third lesson here. So third lesson says 4 R's that lead to fall down. What are some of the symptoms in someone that is on the path of falling down? He's slipping. So that should alert him that I am falling down. So these symptoms should have alerted Bharat Maharaj that I am falling down, that I need to do something to get back on track. So first R is reduced sadhana. So being distracted with the dear Bharat Maharaj reduced his sadhana. So if he had vowed some prescribed number of rounds, like 16 rounds, he started decreasing that prescribed number of rounds to 8 rounds or 4 rounds, like that. So that is a symptom of slipping, and he became very relaxed in his regulative principles. So we have to be very strict in following 4 regulative principles, which we have been given: no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. Also be very strict in doing our devotional practices, like getting up early in the morning, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, especially during Brahma Muhurat. In one sitting we should do, preferably in one sitting we should do all our prescribed number of rounds. 90% of our advancement comes from chanting the holy name, Prabhupada says. And we should be very fixed in our principles, like I'm not going to eat food which is not offered to Krishna. Right? I'm not going to eat outside food or food cooked with onion and garlic. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vishyara anna khaile maleen hoy man, maleen man hoy nahi Krishna smaran. So if you eat food which has been cooked by materialistic people, then your mind will become contaminated. Then with the contaminated mind, you will not be able to remember Krishna. So you have to be very strict in these principles. So just like they say that we take a vaccine for infectious disease, like for COVID we all took vaccine, right? So that we go in an area where people are infected, we will not be affected because this vaccine is shielding us. In the same way, our daily sadhana, our daily reading of Srila Prabhupada's books, our chanting the holy name, eating Krishna Prasad is like the vaccine that will prevent us from being attacked with Maya or infection that other people may have in terms of material infection. Okay, so this reducing sadhana is like a yellow light. If you don't become alert, the next thing that comes in our life is the second R, which is reasoning. Reasoning means that we are giving justification of why am I reducing my sadhana. I'm coming up with excuses. Instead of being humble and regretting that, oh, I'm struggling with this, let me seek some help, let me correct some things. Instead of that, we make up valid excuses. Oh, actually my health was not good yesterday, that's why I couldn't chant, or I had too much work, so it's okay that I can't chant. So instead of having guilty feelings, we are okay with our situation. So that is the second R, where we give reasoning. Prabhupada says that advancement in spiritual life depends on the attitude of the follower. Our attitude should be, we should be very humble, and we should admit our shortcomings. If we make mistakes, we should contemplate and admit our mistakes. So then if we don't become alerted with this, then the third R that comes in our life is ritualistic. We become very ritualistic in performing our sadhana. Mechanically, we just do our chanting just to get the job done, just to finish it. We're doing it, right? With no feelings, no prayers to Krishna. So like that, Bharat Maharaj, he was doing his meditation very ritualistically. So time and time again, he will get up and check whether deer is like, we are chanting and we think of something and we check our phones, WhatsApp messages, right? So many thoughts come to our mind. So like that, our sadhana becomes ritualistic. So then after that, the fourth R comes in our life, where we become restless. Restless means that our chanting stops, Our sadhana stops. Why? Because we were doing it ritualistically, we were not experiencing any taste in it. Because we are not experiencing any bliss, any taste in our chanting, our devotional practices, we will discontinue it. Ultimately, we will stop doing it. Like Bharat Maharaj, he stopped his practice, meditation. So, these are the 4 things that we should be careful of. These tell us that these are symptoms of, us falling down. But it is possible that we may fall down, because after all, we are conditioned souls. We make mistakes. We can fall down. That's okay. But fall down should not lead to fall away, which means that we should not become too depressed or hopeless that I'm making so many mistakes. I cannot continue with Krishna consciousness. It's just not for me, right? So we become dejected, disheartened. So that should not happen. So this verse comes in Canto 11, where Krishna is saying that even though you make mistakes, that's okay. You should keep going on with being happy and keep on worshipping me with great faith, enthusiasm, and know that all sense gratification ultimately will lead to miserable results. But even if you are not able to give it up, that's okay. Continue your devotional practices. While doing your devotional practices, chanting the holy name, doing service to Vaishnavas, service to Krishna, purification will happen. You will correct yourself. So, and continue to repent such activities. So like that. But continue. Never give up Krishna consciousness. So that is the 3rd lesson. I'll move on to the 4th lesson. Somewhat is a repetition, but Maya is very powerful. Prabhupada said that the problem with my disciples is that they are not sufficiently afraid of Maya. And he also wrote in one purport that a sadhaka should fear fall down and constantly pray for protection. So one time Prabhupada was in a lecture and he said, I can never fall down. And then later he was praying in front of the deities. So one disciple asked, Prabhupada, what were you praying? And Prabhupada says, I was praying to the deities to help me so that I never fall down. But this disciple said, you just told us that you will never fall down. And Prabhupada says, yes, because I'm praying to Krishna for protection. That's why I will never fall down. So we need to constantly pray to Krishna for protection, to not make mistakes. Like there is a prayer that I have. संसार कूपे पतितोऽत्यगाधे मोहनपूर्णे विषयाधिपत्ये करावलम्बं मम देहि विष्णु गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति. So Deva Mangal Thakur is saying this prayer that, oh Krishna, I have fallen down into a deep dark well of material existence and I am tormented by so many material sensual desires. O Govinda, O Damodar, O Madhav, please grant your supporting hand and uplift me. So like that, devotees need to constantly pray. Because you should not be overconfident. I have been doing chanting for the past 10 years, 16 rounds. I will not be affected by Maya. So they say that if you keep butter in the fridge for 10 years and you take out the butter and you put it right next to fire, wouldn't the butter melt? So there is one Bhagavatam verse that I came across in the 5th canto, and this verse says that there can be great preachers, great philosophers who are very experienced and who are very convinced about the futility of material enjoyment. And they can convince others also. They give wonderful lectures and they can convince others about futility of material enjoyment. But Maya is so powerful that even those great preachers, they can fall down under the attack of Maya. So, we should think ourselves very vulnerable, very weak. That's when we will ask for help. So, you might think, where is Maya in your life? I have a picture here. Where is Maya in your life? You may have questions. So they say, just pick up your bead bag and see what thoughts come to your mind. So that's where Maya is in your life. And Maya, it knows where our weakness is. Everybody has a different weakness, and Maya will attack at our weak points. Like Rangnath Maharaj gave this example of a camel and an Arab. This Maya will enter very subtly in our life, little by little. It will enter into our life and take over our whole life. Like in a desert, One time there was this Arab and he had a tent and he was keeping the tent very warm. So this camel comes along and he says, I'm feeling very cold. I want to get inside the tent. Right? And so this Arab said, no, you can't get in. There's no room for you. But camel says, can I just put my nose inside the tent? Just my nose. Huh? Oops. Yeah. So the Arab said, yes. Okay, fine. Just your nose. And then after some time, says, my eyes are feeling very cold. The camel is saying, can I put my eyes inside the tent? So after Arab said, yes, okay, fine. After some time he says, can I put my front legs inside the tent? Just my front legs. So Arab said, yes, okay, fine. So after some time the whole camel was inside the tent and Arab was outside shivering in cold. Right? So this is Maya. That how it enters our life. That's how bad habits form. Just a little bit. Just drug addicts. Taste the drug a little bit and after some time they become drug addicts, right? And addiction could be to any of these unfavorable things, addiction to, of course, alcohol and drugs and tea and coffee, addiction to being around people who are not favorable, who are not, devotees like that. So we have to be very careful. Maya is very powerful because it is Krishna's energy. Krishna says, Devi Esha Gudmai Mama Maya Durataya. It is my divine energy, very insurmountable, right? So Maya is actually giving us a lot of test. Maya's job is to test how serious we are in Krishna consciousness. And more serious we become in Krishna consciousness, more serious tests Maya will give us in our life. So for newcomers in Krishna consciousness, there will be small tests. For advanced devotees, there will be bigger tests that Maya will give. And after all, it is Krishna who is sending his Maya to test the devotees because Krishna wants to see amidst of all these temptations that the devotee will choose me over anything else, right? So they say that don't be surprised of how many people leave Krishna consciousness, be surprised of how many people stay because Maya is very powerful. So we have to fight with Maya till the last moment of our life. So if we say that, I have done 6 years, I have done work very hard in Krishna consciousness. I can relax for a few days or few moments. So Radha Maharaj was giving this one example. Krishna consciousness is like bicycling up the hill, right? You are bicycling, you are pedaling the cycle and you are going up the hill and you are getting some success, right? But if you say that I have worked very hard in getting up the hill, now I want to relax for a little moment and you stop pedaling, what will happen? Fall down. So we cannot relax even for one moment, We cannot give any space for Maya to enter our life. So in Bharat Maharaj's case, there was one deer that distracted him. In our life, there are many deers. So we have to check who that deer is in our life that is taking our attention away from Krishna. So one devotee was saying that, this quote is there. Don't give up what you want most for what feels good right now. It feels good right now to criticize a devotee, or fault find him, or talk behind the devotees. It feels good right now to engage in sense gratification. But we have to give up that tendency. If we have to get Krishna, we have to give up. Like Chanakya Pandit says, if one who gives up eternal for the temporary, ultimately he will lose both. For temporary enjoyment or temporary sense gratification, if you give up the eternal, ultimately you will lose both. But if you give up temporary for the eternal, you will lose nothing. Right? So, this picture says that every day Maya will drag your hand, yelling you, this is important, this is important, this is important. You need to worry about this. And every day you need to yank your hand back and put it in your chanting bag and say, no, only chanting is important. So we can remember. Also, that other picture I have is, you think that road to Krishna is straight? No, it's not. Maya will create a lot of obstacles on the path for you to go to Krishna. It needs to check how serious, committed you are. Okay, so I will move on to the next lesson. So lesson number 5 I have is the cost of temptation. There are 4 things that you can safeguard yourselves with, ourselves, from temptations. Temptations, Maya will attack us with different temptations. How to safeguard ourselves? So Keshav Swami Maharaj in his class was giving this cost of temptation, that we can remember this acronym. C stands for conviction. We need to be philosophically convinced about the goal that we are trying to achieve in this life. We should be convinced about the nature of this material world, that it is a place of suffering, and material sense gratification equals misery, like that. And this conviction comes by reading Srila Prabhupada's books every day. So like Prabhupada writes in one purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita that all the devotees of Krishna consciousness movement should read all my books, otherwise after some time they would simply eat, sleep and fall down from their position, and they will lose the opportunity to attain a blissful, eternal blissful life. So this is C. C stands for conviction, being convinced. Then O stands for openness to discuss with devotees. So we go through our Krishna consciousness, we have so many disturbances. There should be some devotees that we can discuss very openly, open our hearts with. Discuss, the difficulties, challenges that we are facing, our realizations in Krishna consciousness, get some help from them. So the actual problem with Bharat Maharaj and why he fell down and got a deer body was that he did not have devotee association. There were no devotees around him to tell him that, oh Bharat Prabhu, you are getting distracted, you are in Maya, you didn't come to Japa class, Japa call yesterday, right? You are giving too much attention to this deer. They would have warned him if the devotees were around him. So we need the association of devotees. And what does association of devotees mean? It means that we need to share our realization, share our challenges with them. And also dadati pratigranati bhuyamakhyati prachati bhunjate bhukte bhojete cheva sadvidhi priti lakshanam. The 6 symptoms of love exchanges between devotees are that we share prasadam with them, share gifts with them, and also confidentially share our difficulties and personal matters with them, right? And association also means accountability, that we have some senior devotees who are checking on us. We submit our sadhana card to them and we are accountable to them. So if you don't show up in some service, then they will ask, where were you, right? Association also means we consult with devotees on important decisions that we have to make in our life. Association also means to encourage each other, appreciate each other to do more services. So like that, we need to have association of devotees. And there are 3 things that we should look for in the devotees that we associate with, right? First thing is that sajatiya. They should be like-minded. We should have a common interest, common goal, and compatibility with our nature, right? That they are not envious of me. Sajatiya. And snigdasya, they should be affectionate towards me. And ashraya, they should be more advanced than me. That associating with them, I will grow in my Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada said that I have created this ISKCON so that we all will have association of like-minded individuals wanting to progress in Krishna consciousness. And he also said that if you think that you can be Krishna conscious by yourself, you must be insane. We cannot practice Krishna consciousness by ourselves. Okay, and then S here stands for safe situations. We should maintain safety. At the practical level, we should avoid going in certain situations that will tempt us or that will agitate our minds. Should be careful not to go in such places. So, for example, if somebody is wanting to give up alcohol, of course, they will not go to alcohol shops or be around those people who trigger those desires within him. And the last thing is that T, we need to develop higher taste. So there should be, some devotional practices that we do that we really, absorb ourselves in. That we just start to do that service and we don't know where the time flies, right? So we should find those services and we should absorb ourselves in those services so we develop that higher taste. And a quality of devotees that he should avyartha karitvam, he does not waste even a single moment. We should not leave any gaps for Maya to enter our life. Like Prabhupada said that it's not like I don't have lust, I don't have time for lust. Or somebody asked Jainanda Prabhu, how did you become so advanced? He said, I don't know, I'm too busy to think about it. So being busy in Krishna consciousness, freedom, free time is not luxury, it is danger. Right? Maya enters our life only when we have free time. So these are the 4 things that the cost of temptations that can safeguard ourselves from being tempted. And I have more lessons. I'll do one more and then I will stop. So last thought before you die. So as we were discussing about Bharat Maharaj, the last thought he had before he died was, where is my deer? Right? And then he got a deer body. So whoever we are attached to, that person or thing we will remember at the time of death. And whatever we remember at the time of death, that we will attain for sure in our next life. So there is this story devotees tell that this person, he was very much attached to his shop, all the time thinking of how I can make profits through my shop. So he was dying. So he said, all his family members were there. Where is my son? And the son is like, I'm here, father. Where is my daughter? Where is my wife? Where are my grandchildren? They are saying we are all here. So if you are all here, then who is at the shop? He was still thinking about his shop at the last moment of his life. And Prabhupada says, yeah, you may be attached to your big bungalow and money, wealth, but if you're sinful, you may just come back as a cockroach in that shop or cockroach in that palatial house. So we should be careful of if we are becoming attached to something or someone. Like Prabhupada also gives the story of Kailash and Narad Muni. Narad Muni is coming to Kailash and saying that now, Kailash, I'm going to Vaikuntha, you come along with me. And Kailash is like, no, I have little children that I need to take care of, you come later. So Narad Muni came back many, many years later, and now Kailash, come now we can go to Vaikuntha. He said, no, now I have grandchildren to take care of, the family is relying on my help. So then Narad Muni went back, and many years later he came back and he found that Kailash had passed away. So he was leaving, he was thinking, where would have Kailash gone? He was not, practicing devotion. So as he was leaving, there was a dog barking. And this dog started telling Narad Muni, this is Kailash here. Narad Muni said, oh my God, Kailash, you have taken a dog body? And Kailash was like, actually my son are very careless with the wealth that I have acquired. They are not taking care of the property and thieves are coming. So I have become a dog to take care of the house. So Narad Muni said, it's not too late still, you come along with me. He said, no, I'm busy. So Narad Muni went back, and he came back after many years later, and the dog had died. So Narad Muni was thinking now where Kailash would have gone. And after he was passing through some fields, and he saw a snake. And the snake was hissing to Narad Muni. Narad Muni, this is Kailash here. Oh my God, Kailash, you have taken a snake body now? And this Kailash was like, Narad Muni, now my sons have become smart. They have put the money in the bank, but they are very lazy. They don't get up in the morning. So these neighbors come and steal away these grains, and elephants are coming, destroy the grains. So I have become a snake to protect these grains. So Narad Muni was like, that's too much. So he started clapping his hands, and all the sons of Kailash came out. And Narad Muni said, you see, there is a snake in your field. And these sons, they started beating the snake with a stick. And this Kailash and the snake body was saying, oh sons, why are you beating me? I was trying to help you. But they could not, of course, understand what the snake was hissing about. So this Kailash, he became detached. Oh, I'm trying to help my sons and they're beating me. And he was thinking of Narad Muni. So after that, he became a devotee in his next life. So, Prabhupada gives this very story about attachment. So, we have to be very careful of what desires are there in our heart and what attachments are lingering within our heart, because it's going to make us take another birth. And the birth means another death, old age, disease, and all the difficulties of the material body. So, who should we be attached to? We should be attached to Krishna. Ajamil was also attached to his son. At the last moment of his life, he was calling out to his son, who was named? Narayan. Fortunately, he was named Narayan. But as he was seeing the Yamadutas coming, right, and he called out to his son out of anxiety. But this little son, he was not concerned of what the father is going through. He was playing with his toys. He could not understand the emotions of his father. But who understand the emotions of Ajamil? Narayan himself. Because he had chanted the name of Narayan, he sent 4 Vishnu Dutas to protect him. So also we have many other stories in Bhagavatam. Pururava became so much attached to Urvashi that he became totally mad, crazy after her. That after he left him, he became crazy. And finally, he became detached, and there is a song of Ela Geet mentioned in Canto 11. But all of this tells us that if we become obsessed with material things or have material attachments, ultimately we will face frustrations. Nobody can help us in our time of need, only Krishna can. So we should understand that who loves us the most? It is Krishna. Krishna's love for us is like millions of mothers combined. Krishna never leaves the spirit soul. Even though we want to we don't want to have a relationship with him, Krishna never breaks the relationship from his side. So in whatever species we go into, we can become a worm in the stool, or become rat and scorpion and so many abominable species we may go into. Krishna never leaves us. He always accompanies us. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Oh yeah. So this picture I have says that we are attached to people for material considerations. Like there is no love in the material world; it is lust only, and we become attracted to their material body or their opulences or their influence or their power. Like here, this girl is saying, "Am I a first priority?" And this male person is saying, "Yes, darling," but of course he has other relationships. So that is what is going on in this material world. Nobody has love for each other. There is only lust. So person who loves us the most is Krishna. And of course, family members, there can be affection with family members, but we should not leave, we should not have this relationship and give up our Krishna consciousness in taking care of others. Like Bharat Maharaj taking care of the deer, he gave up his Krishna consciousness. So we should be compassionate and affectionate to others, but not at the cost of ignoring our relationship with Krishna. Okay, and the Prabhupada used to say that bhajan kar, sadhan kar, marte jaan lo. Your devotional service will be tested at the time of death. So practice chanting Hare Krishna so that when the death comes, you will be chanting Hare Krishna. Don't chant like a parrot. No, you can train a parrot to chant Hare Krishna, and all day long it will chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But when it is caught at the throat, will it chant Hare Krishna? It will chant cow, cow, something else. Right? So when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, it should be not lip deep, it should be heart deep. It should be heart deep. We should be prayerfully calling out to Krishna, crying in separation from Krishna like a baby crying for the mother. Like this prayer is there. So many prayers are there in scriptures that we can meditate on. That when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, we get into the mood of prayerfully chanting out to Krishna, because we are associating with somebody who loves us the most, Krishna. We should think about that. Prema dhan vina vyartha daridra jivan das kori vetan more deho prema dhan. Without love for you, Krishna, my life is useless. Therefore, please accept me as your servant, and in return for my service, all I am asking for is give me salary of pure ecstatic love for you. That's all I want. So these prayers can be there, and of course there are other lessons. And just quickly, that Krishna will always protect his devotees. Even if the devotees fall down, Krishna always protects his devotees. And even if we fall down or make mistakes, we should repent for our mistakes. We should realize our mistake, repent for it, rectify it. So let's say if we have offended some devotee, we beg for forgiveness. We reform ourselves, that is by the process of Krishna consciousness, and we remember that we made such mistakes so we don't commit it again. So these are 5 hours that we can remember making mistakes. And the last point is that Jad Bharat's attitude. What was Jad Bharat's attitude? Jad Bharat, he was pretending himself like a fool, right? But he didn't care what people would think of him. If we are very knowledgeable, Jad Bharat was very spiritually advanced. But he didn't have the urge to prove himself. Other people were thinking he's fool. He was thinking, okay, you can think of me as fool, I don't care. Krishna knows. So he didn't have the urge to prove himself that he is great, right? Most times we are obsessed with public opinion, what people think of me versus what Krishna thinks of me. So spiritual advancement does not depend on recognition that we get from others. There are many very simple devotees, very humble devotees who are doing service to Krishna in the background. Nobody knows about them, but doesn't Krishna know about them? Krishna knows about them. So that was Jad Bharat's attitude, and another attitude was that he was fixed on his priority. My priority is to go back home, back to Godhead. Now I don't want to commit another mistake that I have to take another body. Like that. So we should be also fixed in our aim of life. Devasatmika buddhi, one pointed attention. And in this life, I don't want to make any other mistake. Any mistake that I have been making for many, many lifetimes, so many mistakes. But my priority is Krishna. So that's why, what is priority for us is what is the first thing that we will do in the morning when we get up. So Prabhupada says here that with your lips you should be chanting, with your heart, with your ears you should be hearing, and with your heart you should be crying while chanting the holy name. That is the priority. So last of all, there are 3 A's to prevent fall down. We have talked about the cost of temptation, the 4 R's that lead to fall down. There are 3 A's, finally we can remember, that prevent fall down is A, alert, being attentive, being conscious. First be conscious, then be Krishna conscious. Second is being in the association of like-minded devotees. And third is aspiration. We should fix our goals, being one-pointed in our aspirational goals. So I will stop here. We have few minutes. If anybody wants to add anything, comments, any questions?
Bharat had attachment with only deer, right? But we have attachment with so many, like friends, family, and also we are partial in our attachment because family member we are attached and we can forget and forgive them. But some other people does the offense with us is very difficult for us. So we are making a lot of offenses.
Yeah, if we think we are making offenses or if somebody says so, then we should beg for forgiveness, rectify our mistakes, and also contemplate as to why we are making offenses. We make offenses due to inattention, as I said, inattentive chanting, inattentive sadhana, basically because of the anarthas that are there in our heart. Until the anarthas are removed, we will continue to make offenses, but we become conscious about them and try to stop ourselves from committing such offenses. But we can beg forgiveness so that we carry on, and then we learn from our mistakes so as to not commit the same mistake again. And then attachments to family members, we should see them as spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. Right? And the only reason that we have come together as family is so we can help each other get closer to Krishna. So in that way, it's called affection, not attachment. Attachment will be at the material bodily platform, affection will be at the spiritual level. So we help them get closer to Krishna. That's the way how we can show affection to them. Thank you. Thank you.
Would everyone please stand up? Kirtan